Untap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James.
I know the pieces fit because I watched them fall away. I'm Rich.
I'm up all night to get lucky. I'm Damon.
Going for the chokeout. I'm Blades.
It's Thursday, the 22nd of May, 2014, and we're coming to you live from the pretty great state of Utah. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 35.
Upkeep.
All right, so the part about the pretty great state, do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember? That was Governor Bangeter came up with this slogan for Utah and said, "It's a pretty great state." It's one of those things where you put two things together and it makes it worse than either.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Is that why we named a crappy highway after him?
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway. I thought
Well, you
it was
didn't
funny.
introduce Kevin, though.
Kevin, I am so sorry. I am so spaced out here because this is all so new to me. If you're in the chat Twitch station, you'll see Kevin, his beautiful mug over there. Say hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Sorry, I left you completely out of that, but I'm sort of out of sorts today because this is all new to me. I have a lot to learn. Anyway, Kevin's from RogueDeckBuilder.com. We've had him on before, and we're happy to have you back. And this time we even get to see you. We have video.
Yeah.
Of course, this is radio for those of you that pick us up on the
Podcast.
iTunes.
yeah, thank you. I got to turn this down a little bit. It's a little too loud. Where are we? Golly.
All right, so we have some news this week. One of the great things is, we just finished up with Pro Tour. That was pretty darn exciting. Big congratulations to Patrick Chapin.
Oh, yeah.
Picking up a Pro Tour win. He's already in the Hall of Fame. He's already has numerous Magic accomplishments. He's a fantastic writer, and it's really just cool to see him kind of bring home the gold, as it were.
He looks like such a nice guy, too. I mean, you could just tell he's a nice guy.
He is a pretty nice guy. He's had a little bit of controversy about him in the past. Despite him being in the Hall of Fame, he's never actually had a Pro Tour victory.
What drama in the past has he had?
He has done some jail time.
Oh,
What?
So it has
Oh,
nothing
he
to do
doesn't
with
look
Magic.
anything like a guy that would have jail time, but he's well dressed.
Yeah.
That's all right. Not to judge him, but
Also, one of the biggest, one of the very best players never to have a Pro Tour top 8 just fell off the list. Reed Duke.
Oh, yeah.
really?
Number 6, yeah.
I'm not a fan. Anyway,
Really?
you can cut that out.
Oh man,
Of the
he
best
seems like such a
Magic
nice guy.
players,
I don't
I
know.
like
Maybe
Reed.
I'm-
I like him as a Magic player, but
Well,
other than that, I haven't
everybody-
really watched
Like
enough
all-around
stuff.
good guy.
I don't know him. So.
Everybody, opinions are like armpits. Everybody has a couple, and they usually stink.
Never mind. Anyway. Just cut that out.
So the Pro Tour, did you guys watch it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I feel like Elspeth and Corsair Crufix were like
They
the
were
MVPs
everywhere.
of almost every deck. It seemed like.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think, Kevin? Did you watch a lot of Pro Tour? Or?
Yep. And yeah, you're right on the money there. Corsair was in most of the decks. So that's it. The cool thing about the Pro, well, I guess the disappointing thing for Wizards, but is the underrepresentation of gods. I think that there were 0 main boarded in the top 8.
I think there was like a few Erebos, maybe, and a couple of sides, right?
Yeah, sideboard actually, Perforos was the number 1 in the sideboard. He was in some of the red aggro decks in the just overall decks that played in the tournament. But I believe, which is pretty funny, the most main boarded god was Farika, the god that everyone hated when it was spoiled.
She's
So
really good with Eidolon of Blossoms, though, because you just eat
yeah,
your team
well, yeah, they
and
put
you
in
draw
jamming
cards.
features. Yeah, people overlooked that part of Farika.
Well, that was... I feel like that was a big mistake on everybody else's end because she just seems so powerful to me. Like, I don't understand how people could look so downly upon her.
Yeah, I don't know if powerful is the right word, but value comes to
Yeah.
mind. I think
Yeah,
Farika.
precisely. That's
Yeah.
a better estimate.
It's just one of those things you just can't look at spoilers and expect them to kind of be an end-all. When Mogus was spoiled, I thought Mogus was the greatest thing ever. and now after playing Mogus, the card is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, he's like.
I will not put it in a deck. I had it in an actual sealed deck, and I was so happy that it was in my sealed. And by the end of the tournament, I ended up going Super Sunday Series. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
It's basically what they give the losers something to do on day 2 of a Grand Prix, and I happen to be one of those losers on that Grand Prix. So I decided to do the Super Sunday Series, which is sealed, and I top 4'd out of the 226 people that joined the sealed.
That's awesome.
And Mogus was in my pool, and I thought that Mogus was the greatest card, but out of my 23 cards, Mogus actually 22 because it's the only playables I had, and I would have gladly gone down to 21 and 19 lands and cut Mogus because that's how bad Mogus was the entire night.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting though with the Pro Tour, like just how many people were playing green white or green white black, like junk. You know what I mean? And the constellations, everybody's been trying to call them. What is it? Rock stars.
Yeah.
yeah.
Flavor, I guess, but. So that was Pro Tour, though. That was a lot of fun. You guys if you guys haven't watched it, you guys should go check out YouTube. They've got a lot of the coverage on there. It's pretty sweet to watch.
Yeah, some great games on there.
Yeah.
There's some nail biters.
Game 3 of the finals.
Huh?
You're talking about between what's his name?
Patrick Chapin and
Chapin and not safe for work.
Yes.
NSW.
Yes.
It's his initials. Anyways,
Is it
forgive me.
Non-Song Wu or something like that?
Yeah. Wook, I think is his last name. Anyways.
Yeah, that game 3 of their match, that was insane. Like, it
should've
was
just-
going back and forth, and I was sitting on the edge of my chair.
Yeah, it seems like Game 4. It went to push the Game 4, didn't it?
Yeah, it
Like
pushed
Game
to
4,
Game 4.
he kept a really bad hand, and he should have pitched it. Wook did, the other player, not
Well,
Chapin.
he mulled down to 6 and then kept a 1-lander. Is that what happened?
No, it was a 2, but it was like off color. He needed green,
Yeah, it was
and it was like
slightly
black,
off
white,
color.
black, white, scry. So, anyway.
Anything
was
else
fun.
that you saw interesting from Pro Tour that you took away that you're like, oh man, that's going to be good?
Ashiok saw play. I was
A lot of
pretty
play. In fact,
excited about that.
Pretty much everyone from Channel Fireball was pretty deep on Ashiok,
Like
which
they were
is
playing
interesting.
Bug. Yeah.
Which I've always been on top of because I've always thought that she excels in more of a mid-range game, and where
She?
that's what we were looking at a little bit. Okay.
Well, actually,
no.
Wizards of the
I know.
Coast has not stated a sex for Ashiok. They
I know.
leave it mysterious.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna give you
Yeah.
crap for it. But
Okay. Well, and as you probably have already heard, and we're streaming. We're streaming right now on Twitch, and we actually have at least one person I know of watching us. No, there's more than that. but this is progress. We were streaming last week, but I didn't know how to save the file. I think this time it will actually be archived at least for however long Twitch does that. I'm also hopefully saving the file, and this will go up on YouTube. And, of course, as I stated last week, we'll also be producing the regular podcast for downloading. So just trying to bring you more ways of seeing this. If you don't like watching us, then you can always, because,
Just listen.
You can just still listen.
I don't like watching us. I mean,
I disagree. I have a beautiful face for this.
Yeah, you have a.
I'm gonna watch this
you-
over and over
You
again.
have a face for radio. I mean, never mind.
You and my mom keep telling me that.
Anyway,
Other news we had, you guys will remember Judge Jeremy.
yeah, he was on 2 weeks ago.
He was on a couple weeks ago. He was on JudgeCast. They do some really good content, so they're definitely worth checking out, and they gave us a little bit of a shout-out. So
yeah.
returning in the favor.
If you're interested in the rules of Magic, which I don't know why you would be. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Do it, I won't.
That's not why we're here or anything.
No, then that's a good cast to listen to for that.
It's a phenomenal podcast, and they went into judging a pro tour and how their day goes around that.
Yeah, they don't just like sit around and talk about the rules all the time. They actually talk about
they're-
different
themes.
They're
subjects.
busting
Yeah.
their butt the entire time.
Yeah. And finally, in announcements, we have game day coming up. Who's excited for game day?
Woo!
I am, absolutely.
Unfortunately, working.
I am too. But
Bringing down the excitement. But you get to play during your workday, so whatever.
So game day is usually constructed.
yes,
Always standard
Always the new
constructed.
standard. The showing off the new cards.
Yeah.
Kevin, are you going to be playing in game
they-
day at LGS or anything like that?
Are they pushing? Is Wizards still pushing their 3-person tournament for game day, or did they lay off that?
The 3-person. What do you mean?
Maybe that was for launch. I don't know. Wizards came out with a new format. I don't know if they've sent the information to your local game store.
Was it the whole Battle Against the Gods thing?
No. It's 3 players. So I don't know if it's going to be like a team sealed. But you know how they do Worlds?
Yeah.
Where it's 1 versus 1, but you're on teams.
Yes.
And then the team with the best record moves on.
Yeah.
They're trying to push a 3 format with that. We got a whole
trios.
information about it.
I'm so down for that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So we started at our local game store. We're probably not going to do it for game day, but I mean, it's really cool. But the best thing about it for somebody you got to try with your local game store is it gets more people to come because now, like, we've made captains of most of the people that are active, and we don't let them choose other active players, so they have to actually like bring in
Like
more
newer
inactive,
guys or
less
something.
active players, and it has
From
filled up
outside.
our store because it's other people hey, you need to come for this, and it's pretty cool. So I think Wizards is on the right track with that, kind of turning Magic into a team oriented, and it won't be like I can't stand 2-headed giant or like even like a 3 what do they call it, Emperor? Is that 3 versus 5 versus 5? Because it's very the game isn't built to play 2 versus 2. And so, I mean, sometimes it's fun, but other times it's a bit awkward. But this, where it's just where you're encouraging other teams, and you can actually, if you watch Worlds, you can actually ask your teammates to come help you for a minute and give you advice on a certain play.
Kinda
And I
coach
think that's
you
the
through.
direction that Magic needs to go, rather than just a 1 versus 1
Yeah.
night.
I agree. They had a tournament like this. It was they called it the trios back in the day. It was a Kamigawa Ravnica standard, and me and 2 of my other friends went out and played in this, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. I'm going to be a jock for a minute, if I can. But, like, I know, like, I wrestled all through junior high, high school, and a little bit in college. And just even having, like, the team to be able to watch and see some of the things that you don't see helps you out a lot because you're able to kind of, maybe, like, in a Magic sense, like, see that maybe they have lethal or something, whereas you probably didn't know. Or they might have something like counter magic up or something, and you're not being, aware of it, but your teammates can help you out and kind of coach you through and go, hey, watch out for this. Hey, remember to trigger this. And that will definitely help a lot of newer players actually become better Magic players even, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Well, and it gives you that team feel again. Like, one thing I've noticed traveling, I travel with some guys that are pretty serious with. I mean, they want to be better. Their goals are to make a pro tour and whatnot. And so, I mean, you want to wish them luck, but they're still in the same tournament as you are. So they can't win and you win.
They're still in
Right.
competition.
So it's like, I wish you luck, but I hope you die in a car fire at the same time. 'Cause I would win, so.
we'll meet out back later, stabby stab. Just kidding.
Okay, so
That's pretty exciting,
anything
though.
else in our upkeep?
I don't think
guys?
so.
We pretty much covered it. All right.
Draw step.
So as you know, at the beginning of our draw step, that's when we click you. And what do we have today?
I was just checking out Twitch the other day, and on Monday nights, and they're doing some other stuff as well. There's these guys, a channel called Casual Commanders. These guys are from Canada, which is super cool, but they have sort of similar to us. They got a live show going on where they're really there. They're not just streaming. They set up like a green screen on the coffee table, and then they're projecting it onto their wall, so you can see what's happening on the game board, flat against the wall. But then you're also seeing their bodies, their facial expressions as they're playing Magic, and it kind of just looks like you're sitting on like a lazy boy, staring at a couple guys playing Magic on like love seats, and you're just there in their living room, hanging out, having fun. These guys are just starting out. They've only streamed, I think, like 10 times. And so they're kind of, I feel like they're in a place maybe like where we were, a month and a half into our podcasting.
It seems like yesterday, and yet so long ago.
Right. And so anyways, I just want to give these guys a shout out. They got a good sense of humor. They seem focused. And again, it's focused on Commander, and we don't really, we all like to play Commander, but we don't cover a ton of
Yeah.
Commander. And
Can
so
you
I think that
truly-
they're good.
Can you truly cover Commander,
Well,
though?
you know what I mean. Anyways,
Not
so
at a
I feel like
competitive
they do a
level.
good job with that. And one thing that they wanted me to mention was they're doing a 24-hour live stream on June 2nd to kind of drive traffic towards their stuff. So anyways, if some of our MTGYou crew wanted to maybe go and follow them on Twitch, check out their Facebook, something like that. I think these guys are worth giving a shot of your time to. They do a good job.
I like the sound of that. And yes, give them a listen, watch them Twitch.
Yeah, they only stream on
But
Twitch. So.
I liked how you just said that, MTGYou crew. I've actually used that for us, but I like the sound of that. People that are participating with us, they're the MTGYou crew.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's all of us together, man. We just are
Right on.
big
I
in the
like that.
community. So
All right. So who's up first today? I think we have
Is it me?
Yep.
Rich. Let's see what you have.
Soul of Zendikar. Costs 4 colorless and 2 green for a 6/6 mythic rare creature avatar. Ability text, reach. Pay 3 colorless and 2 green. Put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Pay 3 colorless and 2 green. Exile Soul of Zendikar from your graveyard. Put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield.
So this card really, really reminds me of when I first started playing Magic. I was that green Timmy that was like, I want to play big stuff and do big things and make tons of creatures and rawr, mean, angry, big things. And I actually also started playing right after Zendikar was about to rotate out of Standard, and so this just flavorfully for me reminds me of my first days playing. But being a 6/6 reach for 6, it's actually pretty effective on the mana a little bit. But then also just being able to pump mana in to make guys at instant speed seems great. And if they happen to kill them, you're able to still get potentially another 3/3 beast out of your bin. It's pretty amazing. I feel like this is going to be definitely a limited bomb, and it may potentially see standard play. Just speculating, but we'll see. And the artwork on it, if you guys haven't seen it, for those of you on Twitch can see it right now, but I really like this. It actually hones in a lot on the flavor of Zendikar, just kind of like the lands, coming up alive and moving around and stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
and now this what set is this from, Rich?
Zendikar, right?
No, this is
oh,
a
this
spoiler.
Is 15 spoiler. Yes, sorry. I thought that was said in the.
I don't think so. I
Oh,
don't think
anyway, well, it's an M15 spoiler. And this also leads into the more speculation of fetched lands.
Insert wild speculation here.
Yeah,
Wild,
right.
extremely wild speculation. I feel like this has
Not-
nothing to
maybe not in
do.
core
Just
set.
because it says Zendikar doesn't necessarily
but
mean anything.
It seems like a lot of the core sets are a prelude to the next set that's going to come out, or the set a year after. It seems like maybe.
Maybe. We've seen something similar to this with M13 with the Krenko Mob Boss saga of legendary creatures, where they just grabbed a creature from a
And they were all from Ravnica.
set. No.
Flavorfully.
No.
Oh, except for Talrand. It wasn't.
No, they were
and
there. I think they were all 5 different planes.
Talrand
actually.
was...
Yeva and
Yeva was
and
not
Krenko
from...
was from Ravnica, wasn't it?
They never quite stated where Yeva was from, I don't think.
Anyways, but yeah.
Anyways, but yeah.
The white one, he was from Innistrad.
Innistrad, yeah, which they were just getting out of.
Yep.
I don't know. What did you, Kevin? And you've probably been a lot more on the radar with this. Have you heard any? What's your speculation with the fetchers? What
There
have
won't
you
be
heard?
fetch lands in M15.
Not in 15,
Booyah.
M15. We're not talking M15. I'm just saying in general, though. Like, do you think they're going to be
In general,
reprinted here soon?
again, I think that the official response from, it wasn't Marrow, but another designer said that, that most of the sets were already designed and already completed before before they figured out that fetch lands would have
Rocket.
as much of demand as they have now. I mean, they're kind of regretting they didn't throw them in to like a core set, but so that was their response, saying don't expect them,
Soon,
for all of
but-
2015. But probably the next set after that, they're going to have to. If they want Modern to be a viable format, they're going to have to print them. And I was very disappointed with the event deck not having a fetch land in it,
Yeah,
because
it
I
seemed like
think that
yeah.
would be a great place to put a fetch land in. It would of course drive up the sales of that particular product, and it would help it alleviate the cost of getting into Modern, at least for the like a Marsh Flats or something you could build around those type of decks. So I'm thinking the next fetch lands won't be the Zed lands, though. I think they'll be Onslaught.
I agree with that.
Onslaught
absolutely.
fetches would be really sweet.
It was
Yeah,
it
Fairies
was-
needs a fetch land big time.
Yeah, I believe it was stated in the PAX East panel that they were probably not going to be printing the fetch lands anytime soon, within the next year or so.
Yeah. Well, that was their explanation. They said these sets are already done and tested, and if they were to throw stuff in, then that would mean they have like an untested. And Wizards really likes to, and I think that's, instead of just like throwing out a set that's untested. They have designers that work on these things for years,
Right.
and that's we've been able to enjoy. Like Innistrad was so beautifully done, and
Yeah. Oh,
also I think that
good.
a lot of people were with Nightveil Spectre and Boros Reknor being in Ravnica, and then Boros Reknor of course was really heavily played during that block, but Nightveil Spectre saw no play, and everyone was kind of upset that it was the box promo. I think that Wizards kind of knew, at least the designers, they'll get over it because it's going to be heavily played in the next set, and we didn't know why, but they did, and I think that all that they've even tested like how it works not only in the block but in the actual standard they'll be alive for. So I don't think it'd be the right move just to shove them in M15 or into Huey. What's Huey called now?
Well, even if they did like a limited, kind of like the Modern Masters, where if they
Yep.
printed it in a different set, not within standard playability, that would be pretty cool too. But
Yeah, I mean, and I think they said they won't be in conspiracy, but I mean, sometimes
hope
Wizards
not,
likes
but-
to send like wrong signals as well.
Oh
Yeah.
I know this is a really
So-
long draw. I'm sorry, James, but did you like conspiracy? They're like going to be reprinting freaking like Brainstorm, possible like foil Brainstorm.
Yeah,
which is
yeah, they're
gonna
gonna be
super
foils in the set.
pricey. There's going to be foil exploration. What? What madness is this? I am so excited to see all of the reprints. Anyway,
Swords to Plowshare.
yeah,
in a
and
full
swords.
version. Yep. Besides that ugly Judge promo one that looks like they're golfing.
That's like super. yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
Think so.
Yeah.
Blade, you're up.
Sowing Salt. Costs 2 colorless and 2 red for an uncommon sorcery. Ability text: exile target non-basic land. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name as that land and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library.
So this used to see a lot of play in these sideboards for pretty much any red deck. It would come in mostly against Tron, but now since Tron is starting to fall off the board a little bit, it's starting to make its way out of the sideboards, and I still like it for a lot of the like blue, white, red, like there where you need to hit their colonnades really badly. It gets all those out of the way, and it hurts them on mana. A lot of the ways that the blue, white, red wants to get ahead is to get more and more mana. So it's really good there. With Scape Shift being a thing right now too, it's going to see more play against that, and potentially probably get to see more sideboard use.
It's also really good against like Urzatron, right?
Yes.
Because you're like just shut off the Urzatron.
that's-
don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's where it used to see a lot of play back in the day. But now that Tron's down on the downfall right now, because really you don't want either a Karn or a Worm Coil against any of the combo decks for like the Splinter Twins style decks.
Emrakul though, you just get an extra turn anyway, right? So
Sometimes, but it doesn't really do a whole lot against them.
some of them are running the Oblivion Stone too in the main board, so you can just crack it and blow everything up. But
Blades is right though. It's weak against Twin. It's very weak
a lot
against
of
Zoo.
decks.
And I think that Zoo is one of the main reasons, and it's even weak against fairies. It's weak against kind of these. I mean, Zoo is still on the verge of tier 1, and so is most of the aggro decks. They flirt with the tier 1, but the main reason Tron is not seeing play is Affinity, and that matchup was almost unwinnable for Tron.
Yeah.
It made
Absolutely.
it really hard to like try to blow up their stuff. When,
Just right
Affinity's
now-
just too quick.
yeah, exactly.
Tron is a third, fourth turn before they. First turn they're just dropping a land and an artifact. Second turn they're trying to find another Tron piece. Third turn, hopefully they've assembled Tron, but if not, then it's usually fourth turn they've assembled Tron, drop the Worm Coil or the Karn. And then what made it so good, what made Tron see as much play as it did is against Jund. Jund is a kind of, they play the attrition war.
Yep.
And one of the problems with Jund is, in any other traditional discard deck, is they're terrible against decks that like to top deck. And Tron is a deck that can top deck very well because everything in their deck, that they have so many ways to top deck into something that can go grab them exactly what they need. And then also they have the uncounterable and unstoppable threat in the Eye of Ujin to go get the Emrakul.
To tutor up
and
more
so
threats.
it was back then when Tron was big, UWR and Jund were number 1 and number 2
Yep.
decks, and Tron could just feed on those all day long. And now without Jund and then UWR kind of switching its feel, Tron, and then Affinity really. I mean, Affinity was nowhere to be found when Tron was big.
Right.
So
It didn't
that's
come until
the reason
afterwards.
for it.
Well, and like it also
And this
stops,
card did have a lot to do with it too, because Jun now had an out.
Right. I'm trying to think of Bluetron though is also playing Academy runs, and this could nuke that. But I mean, that's again like you just said and explained, like it's not really a thing right now.
And Bluetron was never. I hate to say this because yet again I'm a rogue deck builder and I like to play unconventional
wasn't
decks, but
effective.
Bluetron was never a quote unquote real deck. The reason why a lot of
played
people
a lot
got
of
into
Bluetron. It was
Bluetron,
never a good deck.
you could make it for 10 tickets at one point on MTGYou. It was so cheap, and it was like and now it's like 100 tickets, but that's what happens when a 10 ticket deck actually can go 4-0 is it raises the price. That's what happened to Living End. I mean, everything out of Living End was dirt cheap, and now Living End took second in a Grand Prix, or did it win a Grand Prix?
It took second just recently.
Yeah.
And
Well,
actually, Duder like
when it got big, I
screwed
think
up.
it either got first or second.
Yeah.
I played yours last night and I got wrecked.
And so I mean, that's what happens when they, then everyone, oh, this is a cheap deck. I can't pay $2,000 for Jun, so I'm going to pay $80 for Bluetron. So I mean, it's a good deck though. It's a fun deck to play.
Yeah. I mean, it has its rock paper scissors matchups just like everything
Yeah.
else.
Well, that's modern for you.
Right. But I like Sowing Salts. It's a really good card.
Yep.
It is, and I think it should be seen more play than what it currently is. Just because Tron is gone doesn't mean that this should necessarily be all the way gone as well.
Yep.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Unexpected potential. Conspiracy. Ability text. Hidden agenda. Start this game with this conspiracy face down in the command zone and secretly name a card. You may turn this conspiracy face up anytime and reveal the chosen name. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells with the chosen name.
So I love drafting. I'm so excited for Conspiracy. I love being greedy, and this card allows you to be greedy with any card you want to the rest of the draft. And the cool thing about like naming something, secret or hidden, if you sleeve up your deck, you can just keep some dry erase markers in your magic bag, and then write with a dry erase marker onto your card sleeve. Bam, time saver. Anyways, but yeah, I really like the idea of drafting like a really sweet, say, blue-red deck, and then just taking the very, very best green creature that I see and being able to cast it anytime that I want to. So
When it says secretly name a card, is it saying that you need to write it down somehow?
Yes.
yeah, you write it down in advance.
Because otherwise, how would? Oh no, this is the one I thought of. You know? I mean,
Nope, I drew it off the
that
top
part-
of my list.
that-
so it's this thing.
that's the part that I couldn't really get beforehand because it doesn't say, write it down or anything.
You could write
so.
down a piece of paper too, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
So when does Conspiracy finally release?
The beginning of June, I believe.
Like June 6th.
Yeah, it's coming quick.
Yeah.
I'm
We already ordered.
Cube.
Yeah.
sorry.
For those of you who have not seen it, Wizards have released a video about it. They grabbed
The video was so good, right?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
half an hour long, and they grabbed a few of the
Oh.
bigger Magic personalities,
Yeah.
and just pretty much they videotaped them playing a match.
They had the guy from Loading Ready Run sort of MC it,
Yeah,
and then
And
they,
Kathleen from Loading Ready Run. And,
yeah. Oh, she was one of the players.
Yeah, and Newmont the Nummy, the streamer guy, Kenji.
Marshall Sutcliffe,
Marshall
for-
Sutcliffe,
from
like a whole bunch of
Limited
guys, yeah.
Resources. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it's on my to watch list. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. We need to build a cube of it.
So, Kevin, I know you're not a big multiplayer player, but you dig draft, yes?
Yeah, I mean, Conspiracy is gonna be fun. I don't know how serious I'll get into it, but I mean, this card's pretty. I like the card a lot because you have to take this card if you see it because it allows you to splash any
Anything,
card.
yeah,
you get
yeah.
any bomb, you put it in your deck, and that's the card you're naming. So I'm like, oh, okay, so there's this card that's green, and I'm in a white blue deck. Oh well, we got this unexpected potential.
Yeah.
And these conspiracies don't hurt your deck whatsoever because they start in the command zone, so you don't have to, I mean, and then if you draw in the card, it's basically turning the mana symbols of a specific card into any color. So
They just degrade you one pick that potentially may
yeah,
or may
exactly.
not make.
But
your
in draft,
final
that's not
list.
that big of a deal when it's
Right.
when you're replacing, it's going to be a bomb pick. If you get unexpected potential, you can pick anything that happens to be a bomb pick.
Yeah, the only time I could see being a little bit sad about it is if I open up unexpected potential in pack 3, makes it a little bit less crazy
Yeah,
than if you
yep.
pack 1 or 2 for sure. But
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's definitely a more worthwhile pick.
yeah, I have a cube, and I'm excited to like make a new cube that's all multiplayer themed, just because it seems like a lot of fun. So, because I'm always feel like I'm trying to drag like at our local shop on Sundays is where I play a lot of my cube, and Sundays is also kind of like the unofficial EDH day. And so I feel like I'm always trying to like convince some of the EDH players, like, come on, like you're person number 7 and 8 for draft, like let's do this. And I feel like if I have a conspiracy
Join the
set,
dark side.
then I'd be like, oh, we're drafting, EDH decks, right? And then it's all downhill from there. So
I'm excited for conspiracy, but I'm a little at the same time.
cool.
All right, my
I think
turn.
that's all I got.
All right.
Stormbreath Dragon. Costs 3 colorless and 2 red for a 4/4 mythic rare creature dragon. Ability text: flying, haste, protection from white. Pay 5 colorless and 2 red, monstrosity 3. When Stormbreath Dragon becomes monstrous, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards in that player's hand.
So you guys are probably saying, why would you pick this? First of all, it's probably
Such a bad card.
well, it's not a bad card, but it's probably it's not seeing as much play as it used to.
It has dropped. It's like $15 now.
That's why I'm picking it. If you look at it, this hit its high somewhere around $30. This is down to like $15. I'm not saying now's the time to pick it up, but this card has got, it's half the price it used to be. Keep an eye on it because this card is going to have long-term, this is going to be a good card for a long time.
Absolutely. It's already started to see play in Modern. I believe it's seen a
Really?
little bit of play in the Gen list.
Yeah, this is an
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
Called it.
I guess it dodges
Called
path,
it.
so that's cool.
it dodges path. It
Look at you
dodges
being-
lightning bolt. It
Oh, yeah.
before they in the past they played the Thundermaw Hellkite every once in a while, but this along with the Courser of Crewfix, both of which have started to see play in Modern, and I don't know about the Crewfix, but this one I can definitely see.
And I'm not saying I think it might go down farther, but it's at its lowest point since it came out. It started out higher than
so
15.
Celestial Colonnade turns into a blue-white creature, correct?
Correct.
So it also doesn't get blocked by Colonnade.
That's definitely relevant, and we still have another year of this guy in Standard as well, so that's something to think about as well.
Yeah, if you're playing mono red, like this
Point
is
taken.
definitely look into buying this now rather than when it goes
Cheaper
up to 30.
than it's ever been,
Yeah.
guys. But anyway, I'm not saying it could, but it's on. I don't.
That was a lot of words.
But don't catch a falling knife. I don't think you should buy cards on the way down. You should wait till they sort of settle out before you look into buying them, and then you can look into maybe the long-term potential of a card.
I can weigh in on this. Like, one of the things I do is I speculate as a, that's one of the other. My channel actually started as a Rogue Deck and speculation channel. A lot of my fans actually found me out of my, my speculation videos. And the problem with Stormbreath Dragon is not Stormbreath Dragon, it's Theros. That's the problem. Theros has been opened so much, and so this card is everywhere. That we haven't seen a set for quite a while. We haven't seen a set since what? Scars of Mirrodin, I guess, where there was a 1/1/1 draft. So anyway, in Ravnica, you drafted 3 Ravnica, and then you drafted 3 Great Gate Crash, and then you drafted 1/1/1. So Ravnica wasn't flooded because of the second set being a 2/1, like it is in Theros was 3 Theros, then it was 2/1 Theros, and now it's 1/1/1. So it has been being opened at greater than 3 times the amount of packs the other sets have done. And also, we've never seen a PTQ season until now of a triple set, which we saw Theros in a PTQ sealed season, and now it's another sealed season where 2 more packs of Theros are being opened for every PTQ entry. So that's that's a problem with Theros. If you look at any price in Theros, all of the cards are very, very low compared to Born of the Gods or
Supply
Journey
and
to Nyx
demand.
cards.
But I mean, the thing is that once Theros is out of print, though, then you can start gauging
Yeah.
how things are going to be.
And I
If
just
it
don't-
sticks in Modern, that's the whole problem with Modern is
He's
Modern.
a 5-drop in Modern.
Yeah. And
Which is
Courser's
pretty high.
Courser's pretty much solidified a spot in Modern until Modern gets switched up, because in the GB, it's the old Jun shell, but they take out the red, or they can even put red in if they want red for Lightning Bolt and like Terminate and things like that. But Courser just means you never top deck into a bad card again. So
Well, it also
you know,
sets up with your Bob too, right?
yeah,
You can
exactly.
leave the land
Or
and-
yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly.
And it's out of bolt range, which is huge.
Oh yeah, yep. You can actually block Nikotl.
Yeah.
And it can hit for 4 in a Doran deck.
Hey, there you go. Doran never comes back.
Well, that was pretty loud screams. Derision there, sorry.
Anyway, that's enough time on my card. So, Kevin, what card do you have for us? Unfortunately, I don't have that cool,
Oh, that's fine.
I don't have
This
that
one's
cool guy doing the voice for his card. Go ahead.
We can do it for him.
Now, let me pull up the actual text. That's going to be
Yeah, what is it?
Disciple of Deceit is my card.
Okay.
So, Disciple of Deceit, I kind of like to call it the pod of Standard right now. And of course, I'm not saying it's anywhere near the power level of pod, but this guy is 2 mana, it's a black and a blue, which ends up being colors I usually don't like to brew around. But anyway, black-blue, inspired, so it means whenever inspired triggers when it becomes untapped. Disciple of Deceit becomes untapped. You may discard an on-land card. If you do, to search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as that card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And so I just love cards with a lot of potential. I like cards you have to brew an entire deck around that card. And I've made a couple of decks that have failed miserably so far, but eventually I'm hoping to find the sweet spot with this card. When I do get the combo, I mean, this is all about setting up combos. This card is incredibly powerful. But what I found is that the problem with Standard right now is you're in this really, really hostile metagame for actually brew decks. On one extreme, you have Burn, which doesn't care what you're doing. They're just going to burn you. They're going to do Boros Charm, Warleader's Helix, Lightning Strike, Navijet, all at you. They don't care what you do with your board. Then on the other opposite end of the spectrum is something that cares about everything you do on your board, which is Esper Control. They're going to Banishing Light, Detention Sphere, Hero's
Thoughtseize
Downfall,
you.
Thoughtseize, they're not going to let you set up your combo. They're going to do everything in their power to keep the board cleared. And then, to make matters worse, you have another deck that just wants to disrupt your hand and one-for-one you until they get card advantage through Underworld Connections or Pack Rat tokens, or, I mean, this kind of deck that you have to take serious because it can, kind of go off at any time. And what I found with Sander, unfortunately, is it's made it very hostile to kind of brew rogue decks. As to really build a deck against Mono Black is tough. To also then be good against Esper or Burn. So anyway, I'm hoping that Disciple of Deceit I can find a nice little sweet spot for, because it pairs very well with Springleaf Drum and Hidden Strings. And right now my combo is Disciple of Deceit, and then trying to get something hooked up with Hidden Strings, and you can really just abuse the crap out of it. And what's really cool right now is also the split cards, like Far and Away and Burn, as those allow you to actually go get a 2 or a 3 drop when you discard them. As they are not a converted mana cost of 5, they are a converted mass of 2 or 3, depending on quote-unquote which split you discard. It gives you the option. So Disciple of Deceit can actually go get Agent of the Fates, which then Hidden Strings Agent of the Fates has a cool interaction. It can go get Daring Thief, which also
really
has
good.
really cool interactions with Hidden Strings.
Yeah.
And Triton Fortune Hunter. So, I mean, I've got these, and then I also use Young Pyromancer in there with Daring Thief to actually give them the tokens. Or, I mean, it's just a really, really efficient deck when you actually get the combo out. You can search for any answer, whether it be Abrupt Decay, whether it be a Curious Follower, Simic Charm, like anything you want to find in those colors. It's a 4-color deck right now is what I've built.
So with the Hidden Strings, does that trigger Young Pyromancer? I forget.
Yeah, because it's
Yep.
recasting.
It's
You cast it.
And it says tap, untap, or like you could tap down 2 things or untap 2 things?
Yeah,
Is
but
it-
you cannot target the same thing. So that's a
Oh,
misconception. Some
that's-
people
okay. That's what I was
think
gonna
you
ask.
can, but you cannot. It has to be 2 different. You have to target 2 different things.
But either way, though, like
So-
with the Curious Follower and stuff, you could just untap your Curious
Yeah.
Follower and get the same value just in a roundabout way, right?
Yep. I mean, and then usually there's other ways to untap pretty easily. And like I said, Springleaf Drum can tap it, and then Hidden Strings can untap it, and you can generate a lot of mana that way. So it's just a really fun deck when you actually get it to work. But like I said, in Standard right now, unfortunately, in a very hostile environment with attention spheres and supreme verdicts, and again, then other decks that don't even care what you do, they're just gonna, 4 to the face, 4 to the face, 3 to the face. You have to. That's the only thing that's stopping me from really being successful with this. So hopefully, again, like I said, I can find a niche with this.
Have you posted any videos of it yet?
They're down. I need to upload them. I just did a video series with it, but again, that's what I've run into. Like monsters and mono blue, very very easy matchups because they're kind of like the decks you want to play against because they have a game plan, and so you can disrupt their game plan with this because again, you can tutor up any answer. So they get a Domri, you just tutor up the Abrupt Decay. If say for Master of Waves, I've done some pretty hilarious things. I've switched tokens for Master of Waves before. I've done a lot of just funny, like switching a enchantment for, like, one of the things I had a brain. What was it the one that
Brain Maggot?
Brain Maggot?
Yeah.
Since an enchantment creature, I switched it for a Thassa and whatnot, and so yeah, it was
that's way funny.
Yeah, and so and then that's permanently switched. They kill the Brain Maggot. Yeah, they get their card back. But yeah, it's just a fun deck, all around fun deck. And again, that's what I like to win. I like to be competitive. But my ultimate goal in Magic is to find out connections, possibilities, ideas, and actually brew like a very creative deck. And this card just screams. And it's even a rogue, so I gotta like it.
Right. I'm excited to see what you've got going on.
Yeah, like I said, don't expect much because like I said, the deck is very bad against mono black.
I mean, it's just seeing I'm a big engine player. I like watching the engines happen. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see like just what you're able to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, anyway, we'll see.
All right, let's move along.
Main phase.
So as you're well aware, we are here today with Kevin from RogueDeckBuilder.com. This is the second time you've been on with us, Kevin, and the first time was just to talk a little bit about rogue decks and things like that. Today, we have a little bit of the same thing, but there's some other things that we just have.
Delving a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah.
We'd really like to kind of just continue our conversation probably from the draw step and just talk about what you think about the current format. I mean, it sounds like you sort of set up your big three as the decks have beat, and they kind of are coming at you from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, we've had some SCG tournaments since the rotation, and last week we actually had SCG states, and that gave us a lot of information if you look at every respective states tournament.
The mic
Nice.
drop.
That's what we call dead air. Yeah.
So anyways, so Kevin, you had already touched on this, but what do you think has kind of changed with our current standard compared to pre-Journey to Nyx?
Well, I think Monsters isn't the deck it was. I think it's a lot harder to play RG Monsters.
Gotcha.
I see it every now and again. I have to check the states results. I haven't really looked at it, but the only information I have, I've been busy in the last couple of weeks, but was some of the TCG Player and Star City Opens, and it didn't really seem like there was many cards that were impacting the format besides Banishing Light. I would say Banishing Light and Brain Maggot were the big, like Mono Black Aggro got a lot stronger with Brain Maggot to be able to take another removal, but. Yeah, it's sad because Journey Nyx has a lot of awesome cards in it, but again, it's just too hostile for creatures right now. Creatures just can't stay on the battlefield, especially little vulnerable ones. So,
which leads us to the Eidolon of the Endless Revel. He's seen a lot of play in the red-white burn list that has recently been jumping up and taking the SCG circuit by storm.
yeah, again, that deck does good against Esper Control. We're seeing
Mono Black too, right?
Yes, yeah, well, it can. It depends on how Mono Black wants to build their. I talked to someone that top 16 at Grand Prix Phoenix with Mono Blue, and I was like, how in the world did you get so far with Mono Blue? And we knew the Esper Control, and then also a person got second at GP Phoenix with Mono Blue, And of course, this was pre-Journey, but still, it's relevant to what we're talking about here with Mono Black. Is that he told me that Mono Black had become so inbred at beating other Mono Black or beating Esper Control that they had taken out Bile Blights, they'd taken out Freakish Cures, which were really good against aggro, and opted for more like main-boarded Duresses and main-boarded Lightbane Zombies for the monster matchups, and it just made those such dead cards. And the Devour Flesh for Blood Baron. So they had all these cards that were just terrible versus Mono Blue, and you could easily steal that first game against Mono Black. And I think that's what Mono Black is kind of suffering from right now, is not really that Burn is so good against it, is that Esper Control is so good against it, and they need to put all that hate versus Esper Control, and that leaves them so open to the Boros Burn deck.
Gotcha.
Right. With that burn deck though, it suffers a little bit against like the slightest little life gain. I was actually test playing that like a couple hours ago, and I was test playing against a enchantment deck, and they played a lot of the Nyx Fleece Ram.
Oh, huh.
And that guy, he was but then they started equipping him with more lifelink stuff, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing I can do. And it was just so rough. Like, those by themselves, like, you can fight through, being the mono red, especially with the new Eidolon. He's definitely more of a suicide outlet, and a lot of times that you don't care about it. Like, you're damaging yourself, but you're also damaging your opponent just a little bit more, and that's just more than fine. But that just the slightest little life gain goes so much more against that one now.
That's kind of interesting. So you told us about your deck where you're tutoring out a lot of guys, and it's got a lot of cool singleton answers. Last week when we spoke with you briefly, you said you're also working on some Battlefield Thaumaturge decks as well.
Yep.
So let's just kind of talk about some of your brews and hear about what exciting brave new world we could live in. Maybe especially once the format rotates and we're living a little bit less, angry standard environment.
Well, unfortunately, again, a lot of the cool cards with Battlefield Thaumaturge rotate. So that's going to be disappointing. Well, the main one is Aureli's Fury. That is, I never really liked that card because you've had to put so much mana into it to actually make it relevant. Mm-hmm. But with Battlefield Thaumaturge, just the way that it reads, and if you have multiple Battlefield Thaumaturges, it reduces the mana cost of each target. And so that means overall, if you're dumping a lot of mana, and the way that Aureli's Fury reads too is you don't have to divide evenly. You can divide 1 point of damage. So for each creature out, you can even start targeting your own creatures. You can actually get Aureli's Fury up to an insane amount of damage that can just actually kill your opponent. You spread all the rest of the 1 damage across like all these different creatures on the battlefield, and then of course the remaining damage to the opponent. And you'd be surprised at how high it can get with just even a few Battlefield Thaumaturges out. And we've worked on a deck where we copy it with Polymorphous Rush, which again gets reduced by the battlefields.
Right.
Oh, right.
So
what about
Oh my
Twin
gosh.
Flame, maybe?
well, Twin Flame actually works too. Yep.
It's like
Twin
same
Flame
kind of thing.
can work the exact same way. Actually, Twin Flame is really good because it puts an actual copy. But the problem with Twin Flame is you can't target it. Like,
Multiple
Polymorphous
times.
Rush says all of your creatures, or as many
Become
creatures
a
as you
Battlefield
have,
Thaumaturge.
turn into that creature. Twin Flame says you can put a copy of target creature, but you can't target it multiple times because Strive says you can target another.
Right.
So it's not targeting the same. It's another creature. So you can't like target your same Battlefield Thaumaturge with Twin Flame twice. You'd have to have 2 of them out. So how Polymorphous Rush turns all your young Pyromancer tokens into Battlefield Thaumaturges. So
And then you just have to have red, white left over and just point.
yep,
Wow.
exactly. Just red, white.
insane.
That's all you need. Exactly. So all you need is the, and then with however zillion creatures. I mean, you can do it at instant speed too. So like after launch the fleets. So so you tack in, and that's what's so good about it. So
Wow.
yeah, and that, of course, Launch the Fleet sticks around though, and so does Polymorphous Rush, and so does Hour of Need. So all these cool strike cards are going to follow over after rotation. So you don't know if Battlefield Thaumaturge will actually see a lot more play once we're out of this extremely hostile creature format for Standard. Like, your creatures need to be doing something amazing immediately right now in Standard to really see play, but Yeah, so Launch the Fleets by far has been my favorite combination. I've got actually YouTube a teaser video up right now with again Relish Fury and Launch the Fleets against Mono Blue. He gets his draw of a Frostburn Weird into a Nightville Spectre into a Master of Waves. So he's got a gazillion tokens out. Mono
Right.
Blue thinking that and I'm a red deck, and my removal is red, so he thinks he's, got the game. And I have a Battlefield Thaumaturge out, and Aurelius Fury, on his attack phase, all his guys, except for Master Waves and all the tokens, kills all the tokens, taps down everything, and then next turn I I launch the fleet, my army, and kill him. So it's kind of funny what the power of Battlefield Thaumaturge when, of course, the stars align, but it actually happens more than you'd think. I mean, you don't really need a lot to set up Aurelius Fury with Battlefield Thaumaturge.
So you thought about putting like Perforos in as a one of, or maybe in the sideboard?
With Launch the Fleet, yep. It's actually a 3 of in one of my decks.
Okay.
And in fact, Battlefield Thaumaturge is a splash. It's not. It's very heavy red. So yeah, there's a couple different routes you can go. And this one I use is like Burning Tree Emissary and Twin Flame are in there because Twin Flame's free with Burning Tree Emissary. It kind of like makes your deck feel like you have a total of 8 Burning Tree Emissaries, not 4.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
Twin Flame, and then it's got Nykthos Shrine of Nyx, and then Battlefield Thaumaturge just makes it over the top when you do it, but you don't even need it to get like a huge Aurelius Fury. Or what I've been finding too is just a couple Fnatic Amoguses can be pretty amazing when you're copying a bunch of Burning Tree Emissaries, and then it actually, you copy it, and then it gives the mana to tap the Nykthos Shrine of Nyx and whatnot. And so there's some pretty nutty things you can do, but it's to the point where I'm like, well, is this really better than how Boros Devotion? If Boros Devotion gets that hand with double Burning Tree Emissary and and they do like turn 2 Ash Zealot into turn 3 Burning Tree Emissary, tap the Nykthos Shrine of Nyx, unload their entire hand. I mean, is my version of this deck really that much better? So
Right.
So it's like, who kills who more spectacularly? I mean, 20 damage is 20 damage.
Yeah.
Just
I
a
don't
little
know.
Flair,
It's
you
always
know?
fun to, I used to love those decks that I was able to do 100 damage, but again, is 100 damage more necessary than 20 damage?
Right. Well, and like the cool thing with the Aurelius Fury too, though, is you can just make them not cast things.
Yep,
right?
you silence them,
Which is
except for
pretty
creatures, yep.
sweet, too, but even against a control matchup, but yeah, who cares if your life's at 1 and your opponent's at 20 or 0? You won, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
But I mean, there's so much. What I like about it is there's so much potential, and I think that if people, one of my pet peeves, I guess, with Magic is, I don't mind if people are more of the net deck, more of the, hey, I want to take a deck that has already proven itself. We know what it's gonna do. I know how to play it. I know what it's good against. But what happens? One of the casualties of that is there. I think there's been so much potential with standards have come and gone, and I don't think that we actually found like the true best deck or the true potential of that format, just because people get kind of stuck in this rut of, oh, I'm going to play this deck because it's proven itself. So I wish more people would actually play more Rogue style or Johnny style decks, or just be more creative or be more open to options, and I think we'd find some pretty cool decks out.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's always, hidden treasure out there in every new standard format, every new set. Like, there's always something really cool to find. And
Oh, Pro Tour was awesome. Did you see Ralph Levy's deck?
no, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Oh, you need to look that up. He calls it GTA, Grand Theft Ashiok. And it's all about killing your opponent with the opponent stuff. He realized that it's going to be a slower format, plus he realized that it's going to be a very creature-heavy format, so he'd use Daring
Daring Thief.
Thief and Ashiok, and he didn't really have a really win con in there. And then I think Painseer was in there again, and Springleaf Drum was in there. And what he did is he was switching Omen. His favorite target to switch with another creature was Omen Speaker. But you could also, I wish he would have splashed white for Banishing Light, because that would have been hilarious against the Constellation decks to switch it Banishing Light. They'd already exiled one of their cards and then switch it for like an Eidolon of Countless Battles, or Eidolon of the one that draws a card, or even like even what he said was hilarious though was like switching an Ashiok with one counter left on it because he'd cast a card out for it, and an Elspeth that was ready to ult. So
Oh wow.
so he'd switch it and then with Daring Thief.
That's
So
kinda funny.
and he did good. I think he top 32 or top 16. I'll have to look at that. But he was really in up until the very end. I think up
was
until
kind of
round
in
15,
contention?
he was in the running for top 8.
I heard a couple of the commentators from some of the feed. Wow, I can't talk today.
Yeah, the live
From
stream.
the string.
Live streams, talking about how like he's winning with Ashioks. What's going on? And I heard about it, but I didn't see like his deck or anything like that. Was he having? Did he run green? Was it bug or was it just blue black?
No. It was just Demir colors, blue black.
Gotcha. But with Pain,
So he had a lot of.
in the.
He had disruption
block.
with Thoughtseize and Brain Maggot, and then tried to go through his deck with Omen Speakers and things like that. So, and then just trying to set up the combo with Daring Thief. So
I'm a little surprised with the amount of Silence the Believers that was running around.
it's just the best
you know what I mean?
removal in the
Like,
format.
Right, but I just like
No big deal.
No, I didn't mean like that. Like, it was kind of cool to see. You know what I mean? It running around and just some of the powerful plays of like pay 7 mana and nuke those 2 big guys. You have no board now. Rar.
Yep.
It was really cool to see constructive play. I mean, yeah, it's one of the best removals in block, but you know what I mean.
Exiles, that's huge too. So that's I think when the pre-show we were talking about Night Howler. Who was talking about Night Howler?
I think you just have Night Howler on the brain, but we could be talking about Night Howler.
Wasn't someone talking about Night Howler earlier? Oh no! Your Zednikar
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
You were talking about that before, and how you didn't know if maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking about a totally different scenario where you didn't think that post rotation. Yeah, I think this is someone else. Some of the conversation I was having that post rotation that Reanimator will be around because there's not enough cards to support it. And I think we have everything. I think we lose Grizzly Salvage and we lose like a Lotlet Troll and a few other like Jared and Shadowborn Demon. But Junk Reanimator coming up to Journey of Nyx was actually #1 played block deck.
Yeah.
Because there just wasn't any hate for it. And Exile though is just so powerful against any sort of reanimation strategy where you can so I think that Strive or what is that card? The Believers card that you just mentioned.
Silence the Believers.
Silence the Believers. It could actually be a very powerful card come rotation if we don't get any really decent removal. I mean it's instant speed, which makes Guild useless in the format when Guild's a little bit easier to cast. Plus you get that. People are really in love with Guild because they could Guild something and then cast Elspeth on 5th turn rather than 6th turn.
Okay.
And also, it exiled, which was huge in the format, but it was sorcery speed. But now that Silence of the Believers is out, then Guild is just, instant speed so much better in this format than sorcery speed. And like Rich said, getting 2 in a slow format, being able to get 2 creatures rather than 1. And then hey, if you hook it up with Battlefield Thaumaturge, it's even less mana.
That's 5, right?
Absolutely.
So-
the only downside to that is that a lot of their big creatures that you want to exile through the reanimation strategies are enters the battlefield effects creatures. So they're going to get their value off at once. This stops them from getting extra value, but they still get that initial value.
Well, kind of. You had the Enter the Battlefield, like the latest block one, it did have some Enter the Battlefield, but you still had Night Howler and Nemesis Immortals were your big reanimation targets. And they don't.
Ones, yeah.
They don't do anything entering the battlefield.
No.
So, and exiling them, if of course, doesn't say that it exiles all R's attached to it too?
Yes, it does.
So
Yeah.
it
So
removes
if
all
the Night
the
Howler's on
stowaways.
something, you get rid of it as well.
Absolutely. It's
Doesn't
definitely
fall off.
It's definitely big against the Night Howler, but for the black demon guy that gives you devotion for +1/+1 harpies. Not +1/+1.
Abhorrent
but one-
Overload.
Yeah.
Overload.
Yeah. They
Overload.
use that, and they also use the. I'm trying to think of the Angel of
The
Despair
Archon.
reprint. The
Yeah.
Ashen Rider.
Ashen Rider. Yeah.
Those, I believe both of those were 4-ofs going into the list as well. So those were your
Yeah.
biggest reanimation targets, but it still also played the Nemesis and Night Howler.
So
Absolutely.
what is that? The green. I'm trying to find it in my deck box right now for those of you on Twitch. It's a one green, one colorless enchantment, constellation. Your target creature gets Strafe from the Fallen.
Yep, great card.
Yeah,
I've
it
actually
seems like
lost
have
to
you
it.
tried playing that in that Jund, Dredge deck? That you've been
Dredge, I
playing?
kind of let go. This is the problem with me. I'm such a rogue that GP Phoenix, that deck was everywhere. Not maybe the Jund version, but at least the black-green. I did see a number of actual Jund. And once...
Once
and that
your
was
deck
kind of my
hit
baby.
mainstream, you're
And-
like, Newth Project.
as soon as a deck kind of goes mainstream, I kind of lose my
Your vim and vigor and interest.
yeah,
and
exactly,
love.
my desire to
Yeah.
actually play it. So I have not tried, but I there was a deck. There was a Constellation Dredge deck. I think it was Junk Colors on MTGO that absolutely murdered me, and they murdered me with that card because it turned all of his dumb little 1/1s, his
Death
his
Touch,
either
right?
Elvish Mystics or
Oh.
his 1/1 Dredgers. Now I can't even think of their name. Satyrs.
Satyr Wayfinders.
Man, into like 9/9s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Every time he cast an enchantment,
Oh,
and
wow.
his entire deck was enchantments. He had so many things in there that you didn't think were like. Again, it's they didn't really do much in and of them. Like a brain maggot. A brain maggot then turned into a threat with that on the board because
It's really good with Farika too, right? Because you can eat like the brain maggot just to re-trigger it. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yep.
Like, it seems
And
powerful.
I just like I was doing a good. I can't remember what deck I was playing against him, but it was heavy on removal, and so I was removing everything. Everything puts an Eye Howler, I kill it. He puts out an Emis Mortis, I kill it. But it was just I couldn't keep up with like the 1/1s that they were then 9/9s per turn, and he eventually it got to the point where we're both into top deck mode. I'm out of cards, he's out of cards, and he's got these 1/1s that shouldn't be doing anything, and they end up just taking the game because everything he casts makes them huge because his graveyard is full of stuff. So, yep. So it definitely is a great card. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's a journey card that has a lot of potential if people would just look into it.
So I have a question for you. It's a serious one.
Sure.
Bearer of the Heavens plus
Okay.
Gift of Immortality. Is this a deck?
There's a better combo.
Okay.
Rescue the Underworld. But
Oh.
you have to have Bear the Heavens out.
Oh.
But even if you do, that's the whole thing is you got to get it out, and then you sacrifice it with Rescue the Underworld, and then whatever you get back comes back as well. So you have these two major threats that are on the board to just finish the game. So
Wait, but doesn't he
Gift of
set up a
Immortality
del-
works as well.
Doesn't he set up a delay trigger so he would die again at the end of the turn? No, wait. Rescue from
Rescue
the Underworld
sacks
puts
him.
sacks him and puts him back on the next of your upkeep, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
he
it is?
comes in. Does he come in first or second?
Because what happens is
Oh yeah, so he'll come in
His-
second, so he'll kill everything again. But still, it's a way to get him back. The thing about that is that you're okay to even you can use Bearer of Heaven as a way to actually because it's 8 mana. Good luck casting it.
Right.
So it gives you a way to actually reanimate it from the graveyard or to kill it. Because the rescue works twofold. It gives you a sack outlet plus a way to get it back from the graveyard.
and
So.
a buddy, right?
Well, the buddy's gonna die if you
Yeah.
sack.
No, because it doesn't Rescue the Underworld say sacrifice
Oh,
the
yeah,
guy, bring
if you
him
reanimate
and something
it,
back.
your buddy will come back after it.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you sack it, your buddy will die
Correct.
because it will come in after the buddy comes in.
Right.
So.
That's
But I mean, you
pretty
can put it like I've already played it. I'm trying to think with the other like unexpected results. We've already thrown in an unexpected results deck.
gotcha.
That was pretty fun. But
Oh, how's your
And-
Blasted Genius deck doing, by the way? Speaking of blue
it
shenanigans.
Sato. How do you say
Tamaharu
Sato?
Saito, right? Like
Yeah, he did it again. When another big name does it, it kind of kills my desire to
It
showcase
loses
it.
the
And it looks
glamour.
like then you should see my YouTube page. I get all these people flaming me saying I stole someone's deck.
Twitch is telling us, I'm not even going to say that name. Canal How Chow Chow was saying that we do get to keep both on the question with the rescue from the
Okay.
field, so.
Okay. Again, I have to look at the whole reading of Rescue the Underworld, how it reads. So
But
yeah. So I saw when Sato when he I don't even know when he was brewing with Journey and Nyx and did a Riddle of Lightning, Blast of Genius.
Yeah.
And I was going to do that too. It made me so mad because, I'm like 2 weeks behind because it's going to take me 2 weeks to get the card. The cards don't come out on MTGYou, which is where I showcase everything. I mean, I could do live video with it, but we had already been working on that Riddle of Lightning Blast. I mean, it was just a duh when Riddle of Lightning was spoiled.
Right.
And then there you go. You have another Bear of Heavens goes perfectly in that deck too because it's 8 mana. It's something that's very nice to ditch with Blast of Genius.
Just shoot something big.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what cards are going to be given out for game day? By the way,
Yeah, it's okay. What is this now?
I feel underprepared.
Squelching Leeches and
What?
Yeah,
that's a rare.
that's
No,
the
that's
rare.
no, that's not.
That's
That's a
he's
uncommon.
participation.
He's the one that
Yeah, he's
every
the one.
participant gets.
That's the participation. And oh man, I
The
just don't
rare
say.
is Dictate of Crewfix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, full art. So.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
that's
you're right.
Yep,
Dictated
that's
Crewfix.
sweet.
And Crewfix, is that the draw?
Yep,
card?
that's the
The
Howling
blue.
Mine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm
Sign-
extremely
why
excited
am I
for that
working
one.
that day?
I'm going to be trading
That is
quite
the
heavily for my
worst
playset.
thing ever. Okay, cool beans.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it looks pretty good. Like they've already
Sorry.
sent them out, so I've touched them.
Additionally,
Ooh.
the most heroic
File-
player will have an opportunity to earn the Hall of Triumph promo card. So there's a third one that's coming out that's a Hall of Triumph that's really awesome looking.
Oh, so that's like a one of?
Yeah, most heroic. So yeah, I guess.
Huh.
Well,
interesting.
it says while supplies last, so maybe there's just a limited
it might
numbers.
just be like the regular one they give out every time or whatever.
What-
But
Yeah.
I thought that
Hall
was
of
for
Triumph-
defeating a. I thought that was like the
Face the
promo for
Hydra
defeating
promo?
a god.
Yeah.
Defeating a god,
yeah, so if you fight
probably.
the god, that makes sense.
Until supply lasts, yeah. Because I think they did send some of those for the first people that beat the god will get.
Right.
Since we've already got our God Slaying weapon, that's like the end of the
that was the
path, the
pre-release.
hero's path.
Right.
Speaking of which, that card I think could see some standard play. I've been flirting with it with a young Pyromancer deck.
the Godsend.
No, Hall of Triumph.
Oh, Clique. Hall of
Really?
Triumph.
Yeah,
I've,
it's-
I've heard
yeah,
about
red
splashing it
creatures.
for mono blue.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does see what a 2 of. Some are playing a
Yeah,
1
some
or
people play it in mono blue just to
Yep.
act as an extra master waves or whatever.
well, if Master Waves dies, your tokens stay.
Right.
Yeah.
So they like that interaction.
Also, the playmat. It's all purple.
Right.
It's sweet. I mean, it's the thing we've seen a million times that Elspeth getting stabbing Xenagos, but still it's pretty sweet.
That's the game day. I'm trying to think what the PTQ one's Xenagos. It's purple too, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Oh. Let's see. Do we have any questions?
Well, I was actually Twitch stream. Anybody have any
Yeah.
questions for Kevin? Anybody in particular? And also, Kevin, I think we're gonna probably wrap up the section about brewing here pretty soon. Is there any other brews that you wanted to bring up, or just
Something
anything
that
else
you're really
interesting?
excited
I know I'm
about.
putting you on the spot here.
Oh, I'm trying to get Prophetic Flame Speaker to work because that
Yes.
card's awesome.
I think I
Again
saw,
with hidden strings with that card's pretty funny.
I think I saw something
wow,
about him
double
in.
strike shenanigans.
Well, yeah, double striking it actually allows you a way to cast your stuff because it's untapping your lands. After
You should play Fate Unraveler. Play Grixis. Just bear with me. Fate Unraveler with the Whispering Madness. Do it. I want to see
it
it,
could work.
happen.
I actually like Fate Unraveler a lot. He was my MVP in the sealed that I top forward.
Is he the red double strike guy? That
Yes.
Fate
uses
Unraveler?
things?
No,
Okay.
the
Or
prophetic
Flame Speaker? Yeah, he's
Okay.
Pay 3 mana
yeah,
for
I
a
actually
1.
just barely seen him
Alright,
play not too
we've-
long ago. Where in
We've
a
got some questions on Twitch. We got a second. So
Okay.
proceed. And we'll
Okay. Well, yeah, I just seen him play in like a red green monsters build, and it's like he would swing through and then rampager out of nowhere.
yeah.
And it got a lot of value that way.
I've seen him in the devotion, red devotion as well, just because it's a double devotion, and
Right.
it does its job. The problem, this is what irks me with design of Magic. Why? I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong here. I don't want to get flamed here because every time I talk about specific colors, I hurt someone's feelings, and then they flame me on YouTube and whatnot when I talk about. But traditionally, I started. Rich can remember this because we kind of got back into Magic or started kind of the same time. But during Cobblade, where white and blue were just so oppressive,
Oh yeah.
and so I've just got this bad taste in my mouth for white and blue. And so when Theros was spoiled, okay, almost every color had a token generating card. We had the uncommon one from white that put in tokens. We had, the red heroic one, a Chrome Crusader that put in tokens. We had the black Overload that put in tokens. But what is the best token producing card? Oh, a blue one. Oh, let's print that for blue. And then we go, okay, that's fine, whatever. Oh, and then gods. Okay, what god should we make the best? Oh, let's make blue the best god. How about that? Or the most aggressive anyway. What color screams aggro? Oh, let's do it blue. And then so okay, I dealt with that. Mono blue and then here comes Born of the Gods, where white must need some help. We're gonna create an incredibly aggressive creature. What color should we do it for? White. We'll call it Bramaz and let's make it 3/4 because we want to be able to survive lightning strike. That's important. People won't play it if it won't survive lightning strike. So they print this 3/4 for 3. Huge. Vigilance puts in a token when it blocks or attacks. Awesome card. Yeah, but it's for white again. And so now where is it seeing play? It's seeing predominant play in Esper Control as a sideboard to kind of bait and switch your opponent that's on control as well, thinking that they take out all the removal and you just kill them with Bramaz. And now now red needs some love. Let's print an aggressive red card and they make it a 1/3. I mean, compare Bramaz and Flamespeaker, and why isn't Flamespeaker 1/4? That's my biggest. Now that we're on the topic, that's my biggest complaint. Is trying to brew him. He just dies a lightning strike, and it's driving me insane that he can't stay on the battlefield because there's just so many. I mean, it's more than just lightning strike. There's a lot of the 3 toughness tests that right now it's really a 4 toughness test because of Mizium Mortars, but come rotation it might go back to a 3 toughness test, especially Bile Blight. There you go. Yeah. So dies to Bile Blight and also dies to.
Well, it does Abrupt Decay, which I don't. That's
But Bramaz survives Lightning Strike and it survives Bile Blight. So there's 2 major decks. There's Borrowspurn and it dies Ultimate Price and Doomblade, sure, but it's another card out of black that would kill it if it's a 3 toughness. If they would have made it a 3/3 instead of a 3/4. So.
Me being a blue-white aficionado, I fail to see your argument.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But I don't think it would have hurt the card structure if they would have made it a 1/4. Because it's not.
I think you would have essentially the same exact card at a 1/4.
But so I've got 2 questions for you from Twitch. We're gonna start with the Canal Chow Chows. He asks. Melodus Astronomer deck. Why haven't you built it yet? I guess you posted on a YouTube video of his, and you were going to say you're going to steal the idea, and he's wondering when you're going to build that deck.
I started a recording of it, and I faced Esper Control like 3 times in a row.
Oh.
So that's my short answer.
Just stole all of the heart out of the wanting to play the deck anymore?
The deck that I have built has 4 Banishing Lights and 4... Detention Spheres in it with Melodus Astronomer. Has Hidden Strings as well. It's got. I can tell you the entire deck list too. It's built. It's I actually was going to do it for Playing on the Budget episode for Gathering Magic since I owe them an episode right now. I'm actually really late on it, but the whole idea is to, of course, Hidden Strings is just the best way. In fact, I'm gonna be so sad when Hidden Strings rotates because it's really the best. Heroic needs something that can continually give value. And for right now, the only card that I know that can really do that consistently is Hidden Strings. You've got a lot of one-time use stuff for Heroic, but unless we're going to find like a Flickering Ward type card that will come out, if anyone's not familiar with Flickering Ward, it's an enchantment that can bounce. Yeah. If we don't get something like that, we're gonna lose out on like what the Hidden Strings does is allow you each turn to trigger Heroic, which makes Heroic cards so much more powerful. So anyway, I've got that with Melodus Astronomer. When you get it out, Hidden Strings on Melodus Astronomer, it's really, really cool because you just go through your entire deck, especially when your enchantments are your removal. But having Detention Sphere and Detention Sphere and Banishing Light as your removal is very bad against Esper Control because there really isn't anything you can actually target with those. Elspeth already gets value. Jace already gets value. Having Sorcery Speed removal via enchantments, it's very horrible against Esper Control. So I haven't really, and I think what really ended me killing the deck is I got this really pompous Esper Control player, and I don't know why this bugs me because it's in fact it's one of my things that I usually like to do, but it's usually when I beat them is when they start raging. But when I lose miserably to someone and they just sit there and oh, your deck's terrible and ha 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 and whatever.
Yeah, Blades
just
was telling me how he did that to you just the other day.
oh yeah.
No, I'm
But
just
anyway,
kidding.
so it makes me rage, and then it makes me queue up with mono black aggro or RG or red black aggro for the remainder of the day, just so I can hate out on Esper control, because they can't deal with a Spike Jester.
It is
Ha!
fairly rough.
Take that, Blade.
It's the second question is, what is your favorite format to brew?
It had to be standard just because it keeps fresh. I would love to do modern. One of the things that's kept me out of modern right now is the cost of modern.
Oh yeah.
The cost of being a rogue deck builder is astronomical. I'll put it out there, and that's why I don't think I'll have much competition in the coming up, because I know exactly how much it costs, just the amount of tickets you waste on brewing. Yes, you can brew and play in the casual, and I could play paper Magic. I admit there, but first of all, you're going through a ton of different cards, so I need all of the lands. I need all the dual lands, so all the temples, all the shock lands. Because I'm going through, I'm building so many different decks. I mean, that right there, you were looking at a couple $100 right there in those play sets. And then, I basically need copies of almost every card in Standard that's, relatively good. And it gets quite expensive there, but just the amount of tickets I blow through, because it is a waste of time to try to tape a video series or even test on the tournament practice, because either A, the decks you're going up against aren't that good, or B, the tier 1 decks that you do play against, they just rage quit because you're not playing your real deck. And,
They
then
don't want to test against that.
they don't want to test against you because you're not playing a real
I
deck.
remember
So
when you first started talking about doing the Rogue Deck Builder, just like the cost, like the startup cost was insane.
yeah,
I
it's
remember, like, it was-
yeah,
I
exactly.
was
In modern,
shocked. No pun intended, but anyway.
modern's very expensive. Like when I did Domri Pod, that deck was so expensive online to build because you needed a bunch of fetch lands. You needed, the birthing pods. You needed Domries. You needed Phyrexian Obliterators. But it was just like cards you wouldn't expect to cost a lot of money and it costing a lot of money to make it really efficient. And again, that's Rogue Deck Builder's ultimate goal is not just to create creative decks, it's to create the most competitive creative decks possible. Because I do have a Spike side to me. I'm a Johnny first, but I am a huge Spike. I want to win. That's why I'm not I'm not really big into casual formats. I tend to gravitate towards tournaments. I mean, Rich saw this. I kind of was when we used to play it in Salt Lake, I wanted to play in the biggest venue possible, or the tournament with the highest stakes and whatnot, because I want to win with my particular brew. That's
Right.
as a Johnny.
Yeah.
So Johnny Spike. I guess that would be the perfect definition to it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
so
well,
it's very costly. Spikes think they have it bad. Try being a Johnny Spike, where your attention span is 1 week with that deck. It's like even if I win, like I was doing very well, like I top 8'd with Jund Dredge, and that's the only reason why I played it again at the next tournament. But I was already, even at GP, I think I should have gone with another deck because I wasn't having fun while I was at GP Phoenix because the deck was old news to me, and I wanted to be playing this new deck instead. So
Trying something new out, yeah.
yeah, I probably should have gone with Rug Planeswalker because that was kind of the deck that I was having the most fun with on MTGYou and whatnot.
Rogue
So
Planeswalkers, huh?
That seems pretty awesome. So, like, was Domri in the list, or is there not enough
yep,
creatures? to
Domri
make
was
it?
in the list of Rug Planeswalker, of course.
Sweet.
Even though Domri didn't hit as much as often as you would, but it was just a nice card. I mean, it was
And you can fight guys,
It was
right?
value. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. We had one other question from our stream. Are there any sweet green-white brews or green-white lists that you have thought about building?
Is that in reference to?
Well, we just have a hardcore Selesnya mage in the Twitch chat.
Oh,
so.
I was wondering if they saw, because we did a podcast with Magic Man Sam last week, and we brewed a on the spot, and this is pretty funny. You guys should try it sometime. We had people name a card, and we just brewed a deck. It's 20-minute brew, and
That's
I was
awesome.
wondering if that was
That's
a
a good
reference,
idea.
but. Selesnya, this is funny because I used to be more of my progression as a Magic player. When I started, I was a burn player. I think when I got it back into Magic, my go-to deck was Kadatha Red versus
That's
Cobblade. That was and then now I can't stand aggro. Like I I kind of consider myself, and again, I don't want to lose fans here because there's two archetypes I don't like. I don't like aggro and I don't like control. Like I don't like the two extremes because they're so.
What did he
Control
say?
I find very unfun because it's like, 60, 50, 40, 50, 60-minute deck games where nothing happens. And control players say there's a lot of interaction between players. There's not. They're just it's like no-brainer moves. And yeah, you can tell me there's a lot of decision makings, but my at least playing against other control, I know I've lost by turn 4 or I know I've won by turn 4. It's not like I've got to make this insane play to win the match. It's in the bag usually, and we're just delaying the inevitable a lot of times. Yeah. And then same thing when I play an aggro deck. It's either like, well, I've lost because I'm out of steam, or I've won by turn 4. And I don't like to play Magic where the everything's known. I like to play Magic in the unknown, where you're outplaying your opponent, where you can top deck the Immortal Servitude to beat the UWR mid-range deck, where you can that's the whole thing where the better man wins type thing, and it's by creativity or ingenuity where you win the game. And so that's why I tend to play decks like to do that. And unfortunately, Celestia aggro a lot of times seems very one-dimensional to me. And
I just don't like playing Magic.
It can be, and it depends on the. Right now, I'm referencing right now in Standard, Celestia aggro does tend to be turn your card sideways deck, and
same thing with the control. Yeah. This current Standard control, for at least the first 6 turns, it does seem a little bit just.
Yeah, you just pray you hit your Supreme Verdict on time.
On turn 4.
And then you pray you hit your
Sphinx's
Revelation
on
turn 7.
Yeah.
Beyond that, if it's still a game after that, then it can vary widely.
So,
in past formats, I feel like this is not the thing, but like within the last 6 months, it's definitely more of an
Sphinx's
autopilot.
Revelation has allowed control players to be kind of lazy. I
That's
play a lot of control.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of control. But I also got into control back when like blue black was the thing with like Grave Titan and stuff. And then like
Solar Flare.
Then Sphinx's Revelation came out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so good at Magic because I play Sphinx's Revelation. And then I started like branching out into like some mid range decks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I don't know how you guys play this because you have to think all of the time. And, with control, you just kind of hang out and just not die. So.
Yeah, it's giving them too much like a safety net, I guess is what you would say. Yeah. The tacking on life gain to a card draw, Wizards was begging for people to make boring decks by doing that.
Yeah.
So and there's some people that think that Sphinx Revelations is necessary, and it is right now for that archetype to actually flourish. But that will be a card that I'm glad to see go. I hope people don't hate me for saying that.
So we have one more question, although we need to wrap up this segment really quick, and it's just really quick. Hey, Kevin, what's your opinion of M15 so far?
Oh, is there more spoilers? Have I missed out on something? Because like I said, I've been up in the mountains for 2 days, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wait till I don't think Magic players breathe fresh air often enough. So good on you, man.
Well, I live in a very
how
rural
much-
area, so mountains are literally my backyard. So
We don't have that many spoilers yet.
yeah, so I don't know if I can formulate an opinion. I mean, we have the discard card that was spoiled a long time ago, the Player's Crate card, which I think Wizards should do more of that because that's a very interesting card. It can be very good with Thoughtseize in the format for sure.
Yeah, Thoughtseize and Duress, like the deck, seems really cool.
Wrench Mind in Modern. Oh, so excited. It makes them pitch 2 cards unless they pitch an artifact.
Gotcha.
Double value. What?
Okay, one more quick. What do you think? Theories on what you'll see in cons so far, or what you're going to see in cons?
What I hope to see or what I think we're going to see?
What you think?
Dead Dragon.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, they already, from what we know, is there's going to be one mechanic returning and one mechanic that people have asked for. I have no clue what the ask for is. I don't know if you guys know any. What
No
do people
idea.
ask for?
It's
But
been speculated maybe ninjutsu or
No,
Ninjutsu?
it's a Sarkon
people
Vault
said
thing.
horsemanship.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I heard
Isn't that just a
Or
replacement
Chroma,
for
not
flying?
Chroma. What's the one where if there's
Bushido?
multiple legendaries, you can discard it?
Oh, Grandeur.
Grandeur. Because if I say, apparently Time Spiral was made as things to come, and we've seen some of those mechanics that were in those blocks, or Future Sight, sorry, not Time Spiral, Future Sight, that have actually come to pass now, some of those mechanics have over the years now, they've actually made them part of the set. So yeah, Grandeur would be actually awesome. I like that mechanic a lot because nothing's worse than when you're brewing a deck. You don't want a lot of the same legendary creatures because what happens if there's two of them in your same hand? Especially if it's a legendary creature that's meant to stay around. We're not talking about like Xava that's just going to die or do its job. So having multiple Xavas in the same deck is fine. Or so Grandeur is awesome because it gives you that kind of padding. It's like, okay, cool. I want to play a lot of these cards because I want to see it. But I don't actually mind if there's two of them in the same hand either, because I can get the sweet effect. So I'm hoping it's Grandeur, and I'm hoping there's a ton of legendary stuff, and I'm hoping the legendary guys actually impact the game a lot.
Yeah, I was
so,
asking you what you thought was going to be there. You went ahead and told me what you were hoping for anyway, but that's
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah, and
because
Daxos and Lettuce seems really cool. Annex and Siamese seem really cool. There's a lot of cool legendary creatures right now in Theros, but they unfortunately aren't seeing much play.
Beware the Wumpus is calling for riggers.
Yeah, are there any legendary creatures? Can we think of any that are actually like huge right now in standard?
That you
I
don't want to
can't-
see multiples of?
Well, yeah,
you got
yeah.
the gods.
Well, the gods. Gods you can't really call legendary. Like they're their own little archetype, I would say.
Yeah.
No, there's not really a whole lot, is there? I'm sure there's at least one.
Maz. That's all I can
Yeah,
think of.
Maz, yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess he is a legend.
But it would have been cool if like Daxos or Annex and Siamede or all these cards that they're supposed to be kind of the heroes of their. But I mean, Theros just turned into kind of a Elspeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sad.
Absolutely.
All right, we moving on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
2 Convoke cards have been spoiled.
That's
Yeah.
what I saw. That's what we're like. Me and Damon are like, do we talk
I
about this?
need to look at the
I'm
spoilers.
excited for Convoke. Like,
Convoke's
I'm a-
cool. I like that
love me
mechanic.
some quarter calling.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
it
my
needs a
gosh.
reprint.
Yeah. That
Doing
was a
Modern
sweet reprint.
was first out. I sold a foil Court of Calling for like $6.
Oh no.
Someone needed it to finish off their set, and I'm like, and I looked at Green Sun Zenith like, yep, this will never see play.
Funny story. I actually traded off my lilies to get into Hunt Masters of the Fells.
Yeah.
So I mean, those happen every once in a while. Unfortunately.
I sold off my my Black Lotus to get into some basic lands.
There's a lot of people that do that.
Well, when I was a kid, this is a funny story I like to tell a lot. Is I my friend ate a lion's eye diamond.
Yeah. Oh, you told us that last.
He could not think of any
Anything to do
logical
with it.
way to use the card, and he was so. And my very first booster pack I opened was a Tundra, and I was like, I was young, and my friend opened up a Veteran Bodyguard, and I was so upset that I got a land out of my pack, and he got this cool pirate guy. So, yep,
That's awesome.
mistakes.
We moving on.
I think so.
Yeah, we probably should.
Here we go.
Combat phase.
Okay, so this is what happened this week. And guys, what happened with you guys? Anything? Anybody play any Magic this week?
Yeah, I played Modern last night. Just played Pod like normal, but I played for your freaking Living End deck, and I got wrecked so
By
hard
Living End?
because you aren't playing with fetches, and I just chopped like land after land after land. No cycling, guys, and drawing all of the Living Ends, and
Oh, gotcha. You were playing the Living End
yeah,
deck.
it was
Oh.
not fun. You can
Sorry.
have that.
I don't have any of the Verdant Catacombs, so.
Cool. No, it seemed like it was a really fun deck game one, but I got bored really quickly playing it. But I mean, it just not my shtick, I guess. So
Blades?
Yeah, I was just testing a little bit of that not green, but red-white burn list. It seemed pretty good against the expected metagame that you'd find like online or like at a SCG Open or something like that. But against the random game store people, if there's just a little bit more life gain, it just sort of falls down. Even though it main boards 4 Skull Crack, since they gain life in like little increments, or
Right.
if they do, it's really harmful for that list. But beyond that, it seemed fairly fine. I do not plan on playing it for game day coming up. Right now, my go-to deck is probably going to be Bant Control. That's just because it's good against my expected metagame, and that's if I can't get the America Control list up and going.
Cool. Rich, if you were playing Game Day, what would you be playing, man?
oh, black green aggro beats
All of the way?
all of the win. Oh, I actually kind of build junk, but I'm thinking I'm just play black green because I already have it built. So It's fast, mean, deadly.
Damon, did you play this week?
You know, actually, I just recently started my job working on the eBay side of our local game store, Heebie-Jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies.
And anyways, it's only an extra 10 hours, but it's funny. A lot of the time that I've been putting in over there has been the time where I traditionally been playing Magic, so I'm going to have to look at my schedule. Although, interesting fact, my wife, she's going to be working at the coffee shop that's 2 doors down from from our comic shop. And anyways, one of her scheduled shifts now is 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. on Friday nights.
Oh, sweet.
So I have not been an F&M regular for a while. I'm kind of like a hit and miss F&M'er, and so I'm kind of excited to
So
maybe
you'll be able to head over to the
a
Layton,
regular F&M person
Layton
again.
Heebie-jeebies. That'd be fun. And this week, I haven't played. As you can see, all this setup, all this equipment here.
This crazy equipment is James's combat phase, right?
I have been combating this week, and hopefully next week is even a little smoother. People that may have missed it before the show started, we actually had a power outage.
Yeah, we drew too much power
Yeah.
out of one room and popped the power.
But one thing that did happen is I had a friend of mine, Jeff. In fact, he's in the chat room right now. He is Wampum guy. Beware the Wampus. Anyway, he's my brother from another mother, and he came over to the house. He brought his decks with him, and he played James Jr. He played James Jr. a little bit while I was visiting, and but he top 8'd GPT recently down in Lehigh. So
Oh, good for him. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's way cool.
So anyway,
How about for you, Kevin? Have you been? I mean, I understand we've been talking about what you've been playing all week, but is there, I don't know, any live Magic you've been doing or anything like that?
Well, yeah, we've been trying to spice up our local game store with a few different things. That's the whole thing. Is we're really you can check out our Facebook page. We've on my RogueDeckBuilder Facebook page. I did a post on what we're doing at our local game store. We're doing a whole, like I said, the whole team oriented. And that's been, like I said, that's been doing a lot for the store, and I'm really excited to do it. The first thing we're going to do is
have you been doing that as your F&M event, or
No. This is
Okay.
Our F&Ms are fine. We get a lot of people. Our problem is that it's hard to get organized actual play. Like people come in and just play casually throughout the week, but I actually want something that'll get people excited and actually get more competitive. Like we're a new store, and then I kind of feel bad because I personally feel responsible for killing the magic of Magic, I guess I'd vote say, because we all know when we all were horrible when we first started and
Yeah.
playing bad cards, but it was fun back then. Like I remember that, and killing each other war mammoths. That was the good old days. And so when I got to my town that I live in now, it was kind of like that. I remember they hosted a tournament, a win-a-box tournament. I think there's like 24 players that showed up, and they hosted the food bank because there was no store here, and the food bank was place they rented out that they could actually host it. And I remember playing against like a bunch of sliver decks with door to nothingness in the deck and stuff. And so since I've been here, the competitive levels raised like crazy. And anyway, we're trying to we have a huge, I guess, rift between casual players and competitive players, and a lot of the more casual players have been kind of turned off by F&M because they just get blown out of the water by our more competitive players. And so I'm hoping this team-oriented, what our rules are that we have what's called the Power 9 at our store. And it was something that if you get on the kind of this, I don't want to call it a club, but it's 9 players. 9 of the top players, they get a 10% discount, and there's a free tournament for them once a month that they can play in. And so there's some incentive to be on the Power 9. And to get on the Power 9, you have to challenge. Power 9 then has to build a commons and uncommons only deck from standard, and then any player can come in and challenge them. So it's one of the things, if you are on the Power 9, you want that 10% discount, you want that free tournament, you have to be available for challenges, and you have to build a commons and uncommons deck. And everyone that's challenging, you can play like rare decks and mythics and whatnot. So it kind of evens the playing field. But we created custom tokens. So we took tokens, like mine is the frog lizard from
Pongify, not Pongify, but
rapid hybridization.
Yes.
And they photoshopped my face into it. And so it's kind of cool. So when someone beats me, they get a token, and they can turn in 5 of those Power 9 tokens to be entered into a tournament. And as soon as we hit 8 players that have earned 5 tokens, there's a tournament to actually knock someone off the Power 9. and they get that place. So
Nice.
that's one of the things. But then, so this whole team tournament is like we're encouraging each one of the members of the Power 9 to start a team, and they cannot have another member of the Power 9 on it.
That's a good
And that
idea.
way, it's kind of like an apprenticeship program. They're going to build up all these newer players and then help coach them. And there's, again, I think Magic is missing that because Magic's turned into such kind of there is teams. There's Channel Fireball, there's Star City that have these teams, but a lot of them are sponsored, so there's reasons why they have a team and, playtest groups. But it really isn't a team game. It's more of a selfish, 1 versus 1. And this actually, like now, the 2 members are on my team. I'm going to make sure they become better players because I want to win. And they have to win a match. It's best the team, 2 of us have to be opposing players for us to move on in this team-oriented thing. So I don't know. It's something you should try at your local game store and see how it goes. Let me know how it goes
sounds like
too.
a lot of fun.
It really does. Like, I'm actually really into this. Hey, Damon, you look like a guy who could use some help.
I'm
You
pretty
wanna-
new, Blades. I think
Yeah,
I
you
could
want to
use.
apprentice under
Notice
me?
nobody's looking at me.
Well, and for our store, what we're doing, and you might see us. I'm sure you guys will be at the Salt Lake Grand Prix. So
Yeah.
what we're doing is one of the things is we're going to pay for the entry fee and we're going to let them ride up with us, whatever the
That's
winning
way
team
sweet.
is,
Isn't it Comic-Con
to Salt Lake
weekend?
Grand Prix.
It
So
is.
that's
Yeah.
so we're going to build up towards this. It's going to be over the entire summer, and So I'm
and
hoping more
Magic-
local game stores will do more stuff like this because that's one of the problems I've had with a lot of local game stores. They become stale. They rely on Wizards too much. They rely on Wizards to make a game day or Wizards and it's just little dumb foils that Wizards sends out, and then of course, a lot of players don't know this, but Wizards always spices the pot. They always for pre-releases they send free product for game stores to give out to
Right.
basically force them to. It's in the best interest of the game store to do Friday Night Magics and to do pre-releases and whatnot. But I wish local game stores would take more
Initiative.
on their own and initiative and actually do cool stuff.
I
So
know
big
for
shout out to my
us-
local game store for doing that.
Yeah, I know for us it just takes the player base. I mean, it just depends on you can have tournaments like that, but if the player base isn't interested in doing it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's the other problem.
So I guess it's just
offhand,
finding the
you know?
magic thing, and that's cool. The teams thing was what
Yeah.
it took at your shop. That's awesome.
I know we do.
Yeah,
like
we
EDH
hope
League
we
and
hope
stuff.
it takes off because we've had some things fail miserably in the past. But again, I don't think that you should just keep trying until you do find a niche. That's the thing. I think that some Magic has become such a cash cow that unfortunately a lot of game stores just become lazy. Again, they rely on game days and F&Ms to actually draw people in, and then they become kind of complacent and lazy. And yeah. So hopefully this takes off.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
It's a good idea. All right, moving on.
Second main phase.
Okay, so in our second main phase, this is where we talk about. I don't know. What do we talk about, guys?
Well, we bring up announcements. We review the reviews that we've been getting.
That's right. Feedback. In fact,
Feedback, all kinds of cool stuff like that.
we got a cool email from Josh Castillo. I wanted to read this, and the title of the email was "Weapons Machetes."
And if you're a longtime listener,
You'll know what that means. Yep. Says, "What's up, guys? I actually sent this email last Friday night after my first F&M, but I accidentally sent it to the wrong address, so someone out there was probably very confused, LOL. Anyway, here's the email I meant to send last week. What's up, MTGYou crew? Just wanted to thank you guys for your awesome podcast. I just got back from my first F&M here in Seattle." He's in Seattle. Yeah, this is the
on the home turf. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's something I probably wouldn't have gone to without hearing all the cool tips you guys give. I've only been playing Magic for a little less than a year, and I thought that there was no way I could compete in F&M since it seems so much more competitive than what I was used to. After I listened to your podcast on sideboarding in Standard and reading your opponent, I really felt confident in taking a cool black-white enchantment deck I made around Atheros down to my local shop this week. Ended up going 1-3, but it was a blast, and I met a bunch of cool people and got some awesome trades. Anyway, I hope you guys keep making awesome podcasts, and I'm definitely giving you guys 5-star review. P.S. Went to my second F&M last night and had a blast again. Thanks again, guys. # weapon machetes. That's from Josh. And we appreciate that. We love hearing emails like this because it means we're accomplishing our primary goal, and that's to be an influence on the community for good.
Absolutely. This is what we like to hear. Coming into this podcast, this is absolutely the number one thing that we wanted to have an impact on.
Yeah, get people from kitchen tables to F&Ms, and maybe also feel comfortable going from F&M to like a GP or something like that. Because, certainly we're not pros. We haven't accomplished a ton. In fact, Kevin's been
Speak for yourself,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, I'm just saying, of the four of us in the room, Kevin's not in the room, and he's the only one who's been to Pro Tour. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are not,
All right,
we
yeah.
can't speak from that kind of a
We're
podium.
kinda
But you know what?
Jobins.
We go to our LGS, and we hang out. We have a lot of fun playing Magic, and I think that we really care about the people we play with. So, anyways, man, Josh, I'm so glad that you were able to go to F&M and have a good time.
Yeah. And okay, so I have 3 new reviews on iTunes. These are 5-star reviews. Give us a 5-star review. We give you a shout out. This is from Candace81. Great independent podcast. Really great podcast with an ingenious organization to separate topics via MTG steps. A really good conversational approach that isn't overly technical without explanation. I'm just catching up with past episodes here, but I thought I would send my kudos to the guys for a job well done. Thank you, Candace81. Appreciate that. This other one is from Wayfair44. Awesome podcast. This is one of the best MTG podcasts out there, and I recommend this to anyone from beginner to pro. There are information for everyone on this cast, so check it out. I'm returning to Magic after a while and needed to relearn everything pretty much, and this podcast really got me back into the deck building and all aspects of Magic. Thanks, guys. Finally, MTGYou, class is in session. Oh, I like the title of that one. This is from Never After Drums. Found these guys accidentally through the Magic Minute. Oh, that's an accident. That's too bad. No, I do the Magic Minute, so that's probably how it happened. Which left me wanting more. Was so psyched when I found out that they did a full-length podcast. My full-length podcast of Magic Minute is, guess what?
A minute.
A minute. I love that they cover playability of cards in different formats as well as a little speculation. Great for Magic players at any level. So those are some great reviews. We really appreciate those and keep them coming. There's even an incentive to give a 5-star review, isn't there?
There sure
Yeah,
is.
I think
We've
we're
been
about
running
to
a
do that,
contest for
aren't
the
we?
past 2 weeks. So
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Well, we can hold that for a thought for another time. But we have some contests to talk about.
yeah, we sure do. We asked you guys to send in your rogue decks that included at least one Journey into Nyx card. It could be for any format, EDH through Standard, Modern, whatever you wanted. And, man, we had so much fun reading through several deck lists. And some of your explanations, like we would read them and we go, oh my gosh, it does that? That's awesome. Anyways, also probably my favorite quote was somebody suggested that Endless Whispers be renamed Endless Uproarious Laughter. Just because of all of the hilarious stuff you can do with it. Anyways, for all of you guys that participated, thank you so much. We just really appreciate you guys being part of the community. And we may post some of these lists and just kind of talk about them and stuff afterwards. And we are also excited to announce our sort of agreed upon winner under really no specific guidelines other than we just sort of liked it. I mean,
Not that we didn't like all of them.
right, but it wasn't necessarily the most competitive or anything else. Just we liked it.
It was hard to pick out some of them too. I'm sure we'll be doing this again.
Oh yeah, I think this was actually very, very.
Well received.
We got a lot of entries, and by the way, we do want to say thanks to Kevin for donating some
Rogue Deck Builder playmats.
playmats that are going out to some of these winners. And go ahead with the drum roll. I don't have a drum roll. Okay.
All right, so the winner for the picked deck list is going to be Chris Crowder with Phoenix Mill. We just submitted a decks featuring Phoenix, and it just seemed like a pretty well balanced deck that we all kind of enjoyed reading the list.
Yeah, it
through,
seemed
so.
like he put a lot of time into it, a lot of heart. It seemed like a lot of the numbers in it was very, very fine-tuned. The mana in it seemed pretty on par with some of our past episodes. When we did our past episodes about mulliganing and talking about the mana base, it seemed right about where you wanted to be. And I don't know if he listened to our podcast on that one before submitting it, but it felt like we may or may not have had an impact on that.
And then we also said that we'd give one away randomly. So before the show, we rolled a dice.
Didn't we decide though that we actually had 2 to give away randomly?
I don't
Yes,
know.
we do now.
Yeah.
We also talked about maybe saving one for a contest on the line, but let's give away all of the
Well,
things.
we rolled and we came up. Remember, we came up with a 1 and an 8.
That's true.
So
Do it, yeah.
All right, so person who was in seat number 1 at the draft table was Peter.
Yeah.
And he actually submitted a couple of deck lists, though he only got 1 entry.
That's
right. Anyway, so we appreciate the deck list that he sent in. And then Bruce Gray with a very cool mono blue Kraken control list. Used Welding Wave and a bunch of serpents and octopuses and then also like Mnemonic Wall to recur the Whelming Wave. This was actually one of the ones that was kind of it was my pony for that I was picking for maybe the best of, but I went ahead and went with the
Yeah, it
Phoenix
plays
list
islands.
at the
How
end.
can you go wrong?
That's
Screw you.
so. Anyways, and then we also had a couple we were going to give away for iTunes reviews as well.
Reviews, and we haven't really finalized that one yet. We've been like running around.
So we will contact you guys for the iTunes reviews
Yep.
if we can get your information
We have
through the review. Then
one
we
of
will
one of
send
those
you
winners
email.
will receive the. Hold it up! It's right behind you.
CD.
I
Yeah.
believe, is that the one?
You should choose that UT Blades guy. He
Oh,
sounds like a
yeah.
who like he sounds like a very attractive guy.
Free play, the Andrew Allen Trio. It has all of this is classic jazz, Super Mario. Where there's all sorts of Angry Birds. There's Zelda. This is a really fun album to listen to. So one will receive that, another will also receive a playmat, and we will be.
So do you want them to just send in their contact info, like email us, or
Well,
how do you want to do that?
Is it searchable through the iTunes reviews? Can
We
we
might-
contact those users?
We might need to announce that next week because
We're so good at this game, guys.
know it.
We're so good at this
we're
game.
so professional. Because, well, I'm a busy man.
Anyways, we will be able to continue to look at this, and at the end of the year, remember that Judge Jeremy has offered one of his prized, judge-only playmats
Your
from
choice,
one of the many
evidently.
GPs that he's
Yeah.
been to, and he'll give us a list of all the different playmats, and we'll post up pictures and make it really cool.
And
So that'll be in December.
And that's for everybody that's given a 5-star review in
Ever.
iTunes. So
Yeah.
just keep them coming. And we also, I don't know if you've been to the website, but we have a poll on the website, MTGYou.com. Evidently, a lot of people, without even announcing it, there's a lot of people that actually made it to the website and took the poll. Total answers were 23. What color of mage are you? White got 4 votes. Blue got 6 votes.
Yeah.
Black got 5 votes. This is funny. Red got 1 vote, and you'll never guess who said that.
It was Blade.
Yeah, Green got 4 votes. So I just can't decide. More people can't decide than chose red. Come on, people. Anyway, that was fun. I'm going to put up a new poll probably tomorrow when I get around to it. How many times a week do you play Magic? 1, 2 to 3, 4 or more, or I'm lucky if I get to play every week. So that will be this week's poll, and yeah. Anything else?
I think that is a lot.
Saga
of
Volume
announcements.
number 19 came
Oh,
out.
that's true. Yeah, happy
Whoop,
Saga
whoop.
Week. If anybody reads Saga, the
Saga.
comic book. If you don't and you're okay with rated R content, get there.
Read Saga.
That was a lot of business.
Too much.
And this was actually a pretty long podcast, I'm afraid. So this was good.
All right,
And
moving on.
Yeah, and before we go, Kevin, thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's fun.
do you want to just pimp yourself one more time here while we're before
yeah.
we end up?
Oh, sure, yeah. I got an echo here, or is that on my end?
I think it's
I
on
think
your
it's
end.
just
You're
on your
sounding good
end.
on
You're
our end,
sounding
yeah.
fine.
Okay, now I sound okay. Okay, I had an echo there for a second. Yeah, I run a YouTube channel, YouTube/RogueDeckBuilder, as well as a website, so www.RogueDeckBuilder.com, and as well as Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, if anyone uses that. Yeah, so come check me out if you like Rogue Decks. We also do speculation videos, and we try to keep a pretty active community. We do a lot of Rogue Deck competitions, and as well as we're going to be starting a series. I need to get more... I need to actually follow through with some of these. Like we're doing a series where it's called the Rogue F&M Hero, or Rogue F&M Champion, or something like that. I'll have to figure out what I called it. Anywhere where we pick a card, and then as a community, you brew around that card and play it at your local F&M, and whoever gives the best tournament report wins a prize. So definitely check that out if you like to brew with interesting cards. Like we've been doing with Madoma, the Ageless, but it's about time we pick another one and actually announce the winner to that one. So definitely check out the channel for that.
How about Sphinx's Revelation?
Oh yeah, that's a perfect rogue card.
Yeah, totally.
So rogue, nobody uses that one.
All right. Well, again, thanks for coming on, and I'm sure we'll have you back again sometime if you want to come back.
Alrighty.
All right. And let's wrap this thing up.
End step.
I'm trying to get to it. If you want to contact us, you can send email to mtgupodcast@gmail.com. Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgu. This is really professional.
It's bumping.
Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgu. Follow us on Twitter @the_MTGU. Contact us live. Catch us live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/MTGU. And find us on YouTube and on Stitcher. So for the MTGU podcast,
I'm Blades.
I'm Rich.
I'm Damon.
I'm James. Now we pass the turn to you.
Woots.
Twitch and doing this is hard. It's like, you're like, all of the things.
I'll get better.